What if the seafood you believe is healthy is secretly working against you? It's a startling thought, but recent scientific discoveries have uncovered some shocking truths. It turns out that what's on your plate could either be extending your life or quietly damaging your health. In fact, alarming new studies suggest that 3 out of every 4 seniors are unknowingly eating seafood that can accelerate joint decay, cause blood pressure to spike, and even silently harm the brain. One popular fish, still found in every grocery store, has been linked to a nearly 30% higher risk of memory loss. Even more concerning, over 99% of seniors have never heard of the number one seafood that can slash inflammation by 45% and help rebuild cartilage naturally. The seafood industry has spent millions of dollars to keep these findings buried in dense medical journals, but today, we're bringing them into the light. We are about to expose the 4 types of seafood that act like medicine for an aging body, and the 4 that are essentially poison on a plate. The most dangerous one, our number one to avoid, is responsible for over 50,000 emergency room visits among seniors each year. And the most beneficial one, our number one must-eat, has been shown in studies to help reverse certain biological aging markers. Everything you're about to hear is backed by peer-reviewed scientific studies and real-world medical cases. But first, let me ask you 2 things. Have you been dealing with any unexplained joint pain or memory issues lately? And second, how many times a week do you eat seafood? We read and reply to every single comment, offering personalized tips and advice. And please, remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more essential health updates. Now, let's begin with the 4 seafoods you should never touch. Number 4, raw oysters, especially from warm waters. Raw oysters might feel like an indulgent treat, but for anyone over 60, consuming them can be like playing a dangerous game of chance with your health. The primary threat comes from a bacterium called Vibrio vulnificus, which flourishes in the warm coastal waters where oysters are often harvested. This isn't your average case of food poisoning. For seniors, this bacterium can lead to septicemia, a life-threatening blood infection that progresses rapidly and can be ruthless. As we age, our immune systems naturally become less robust, making us up to 80 times more vulnerable to a Vibrio infection than younger adults. A study from the Centers for Disease Control tracked hundreds of cases over 5 years and made a chilling discovery. 96% of the fatalities occurred in people over the age of 60. For seniors with underlying health conditions such as diabetes or liver disease, the mortality rate soared to a staggering 52%. The symptoms often start innocently. You might just feel a little nauseous after a celebratory oyster dinner. But within 24 hours, the infection can escalate, causing severe chills, a high fever, and distinctive skin lesions that look like large, blood-filled blisters. The bacteria multiply at an exponential rate in your bloodstream, quickly overwhelming your body's defenses. If you truly love oysters, please only eat them fully cooked. The heat completely destroys the Vibrio bacteria. Steaming them for at least 5 minutes or grilling them until their shells pop open and the meat becomes firm is the only safe way. A better choice might be to replace raw oysters with cooked mussels, which provide similar benefits like zinc and vitamin B12 without the potentially lethal risk. Consider the story of a retired school principal from Florida. To celebrate his 70th birthday, he and his wife went to a seaside restaurant and ordered a dozen raw oysters, a tradition they'd enjoyed for years. By the next morning, he was shaking with uncontrollable chills and had a fever of 104 degrees. His wife rushed him to the hospital, where doctors immediately suspected a Vibrio infection. Despite being given powerful antibiotics, he developed septic shock. He was lucky to survive, but the infection was so severe it cost him 2 months in the hospital and left him with permanent nerve damage in his legs. He later said that those few moments of pleasure from the oysters weren't worth the months of pain and recovery. Now, he's a vocal advocate for seafood safety in his community. Number 3. King mackerel. King mackerel is a large, impressive-looking fish, but it's also a mercury time bomb waiting to detonate inside your system. As a predatory fish, it sits high on the oceanic food chain, accumulating methylmercury from all the smaller fish it eats throughout its life. For seniors, this accumulation poses a significant threat of neurological damage. Mercury doesn't just pass through your system, it builds up in your brain tissue, specifically targeting the areas that control your memory and coordination. A Harvard study involving 1,200 adults over the age of 65 found that those who ate king mackerel on a weekly basis showed rates of cognitive decline that were 30% faster than those who avoided high-mercury fish. The mercury levels in their blood were, on average, more than double the safety limit set by the Environmental Protection Agency. The symptoms of mercury toxicity often appear gradually. At first, you might notice a slight tremor in your hands when you lift a cup of coffee. Then you might experience a persistent brain fog, finding yourself forgetting simple things like why you walked into a room. Over time, the mercury can cause peripheral neuropathy, which is permanent nerve damage that can leave your feet feeling numb or tingling, as if they've fallen asleep. Instead of king mackerel, choose Atlantic mackerel, which has 75% less mercury but still provides those valuable omega-3 fatty acids. Even better alternatives are wild salmon or sardines. If you have been eating king mackerel regularly, it's a good idea to ask your doctor for a heavy metal blood test. While treatments can help remove some of the accumulated mercury, the neurological damage it causes is often permanent. Let's think about a retired mechanic, a man who had always been sharp and good with his hands. He started grilling king mackerel steaks twice a week, thinking it was a healthy choice for his heart. After about 6 months, his family noticed concerning changes. He started fumbling with his tools in his workshop and struggled to recall the names of his own grandchildren. His daughter saw him stumble several times and insisted he see a doctor. Blood tests confirmed he was suffering from mercury poisoning. He immediately stopped eating the fish and began a treatment to clear the metal from his system. His coordination improved, but he still deals with frustrating memory gaps from that period. He now makes a point to warn his friends at the local community center about the hidden dangers in certain types of fish. Number 2. Imported shrimp from Asia. That bag of budget-friendly frozen shrimp from Southeast Asia may be hiding some dark secrets. Over 90% of the shrimp sold in American supermarkets is sourced from industrial farms in countries like Vietnam, Thailand, and China, where environmental and safety regulations can be lax. These shrimp farms are often overcrowded and unsanitary, creating a breeding ground for disease. Independent testing by Consumer Reports discovered banned antibiotics in 60% of imported shrimp samples. These included substances like chloramphenicol, which can cause a rare but fatal form of anemia, and nitrofurans, which are known carcinogens. For seniors, whose immune systems may already be compromised, these chemicals don't just risk causing illness. They can fundamentally weaken the body's ability to fight off future infections. The conditions in which these shrimp are raised are often appalling. They are packed into ponds at incredibly high densities, sometimes in water contaminated with waste. To prevent disease outbreaks in these stressful conditions, farmers often use a cocktail of antibiotics, pesticides, and growth hormones. One study from a Texas university analyzed over 300 imported shrimp samples and found residues of 162 different veterinary drugs, including 11 that are banned for use in food production. These chemicals can accumulate in your liver and kidneys, organs that naturally become less efficient as we age. The symptoms of exposure can be subtle, including persistent nausea, unexplained skin rashes, and a deep, chronic fatigue that sleep doesn't seem to fix. Long-term consumption has been shown to increase the risk of developing antibiotic-resistant infections by as much as 400%. The safest choice is to opt for wild-caught American shrimp from the Gulf of Mexico or the Atlantic coast. While they are more expensive, they are free from these banned chemicals and have a much better flavor and texture. If your budget is a concern, consider buying smaller quantities of this higher-quality shrimp. Frozen wild-caught shrimp is often more affordable than fresh and retains all of its nutritional value. Imagine a woman living on a fixed retirement income who bought imported shrimp every week because it was an affordable source of protein. over several months. She developed a persistent skin infection on her hands that no standard antibiotic could cure. Her doctor was baffled until she mentioned her regular shrimp dinners. Further testing revealed that her immune system was suppressed, likely due to long-term exposure to chemicals from her diet. She had to undergo months of treatment to recover. Now, she buys wild-caught American shrimp just once a month as a special treat, a reminder that the cheapest option isn't always the healthiest. Number 1. Farm-raised tilapia. And here we have it, the number one seafood that is secretly undermining the health of seniors all across the country. Farm-raised tilapia is marketed as a lean, healthy, and affordable fish, but in reality, it can be an inflammatory nightmare. It can worsen nearly every age-related condition you're trying to prevent. The problem lies in its fatty acid profile. The ratio of inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids to anti-inflammatory omega-3 in farm-raised tilapia is a disastrous 11-to-1. For optimal health, our bodies need a ratio closer to 1-to-1. This extreme imbalance is a powerful trigger for systemic inflammation, which is the root cause of conditions like arthritis, heart disease, and even Alzheimer's. Researchers at Wake Forest University made a stunning finding. Eating farm-raised tilapia was found to increase inflammatory markers in the body more than eating bacon or a hamburger. These fish are typically raised in overcrowded concrete tanks, primarily in China, and are fed a cheap, unnatural diet of corn, soy, and even processed chicken waste. That's right, chicken feces are often used as a primary ingredient in tilapia feed because it's inexpensive and promotes rapid growth. The FDA inspects less than 2% of all imported seafood, which means contamination often goes undetected until it makes people sick. A study from Johns Hopkins University tested 200 samples of farm-raised tilapia and found dioxins, a type of industrial pollutant and known carcinogen, at levels 11 times higher than the EPA's safety limit. For seniors whose detoxification systems are already working harder, these toxins can accumulate quickly in fatty tissues and vital organs. The inflammation triggered by this fish can show up as worsening joint pain, persistent brain fog that threatens your independence, and cardiovascular stress that puts your heart at risk. Instead of tilapia, choose wild-caught pollock, Pacific rockfish, or even canned wild salmon. These alternatives provide beneficial omega-3s without the toxic baggage. Think of a retired nurse who was meticulous about her health. She ate tilapia 4 times a week, believing she was making a heart-healthy choice. Within a year, her mild arthritis flared up so severely that she had trouble with simple tasks like opening a jar. Her blood tests showed her inflammatory markers were dangerously high. On the advice of a colleague, she cut tilapia from her diet completely and switched to wild-caught fish. 6 months later, her inflammation levels had dropped by 85%, and her joint pain was nearly gone. She now advises all her friends to be wary of this seemingly healthy fish, calling it one of the most misleading foods in the supermarket. Now that we've uncovered the 4 worst types of seafood that can silently harm your health, let's change our focus. It's time to explore the powerful, healing seafoods that you should be eating after 60 if you want to stay sharp, mobile, and pain-free. Number 4. Pacific sardines. Don't be fooled by their small size or humble reputation. Pacific sardines are nutritional giants, perfectly suited to address the specific health challenges we face as we get older. These tiny fish contain more easily absorbable calcium than a glass of milk, more vitamin D than most fortified cereals, and more coenzyme Q10 than many expensive supplements. The calcium in sardines comes from their soft, edible bones, and a single serving can provide 35% of your daily requirement. But what makes this calcium so effective is that it comes naturally packaged with vitamin D and phosphorus. This trio creates the perfect conditions for absorption, helping to avoid issues like kidney stones that can sometimes be associated with high-dose calcium supplements. A Stanford University study of over 1,000 postmenopausal women found that those who ate sardines twice a week increased their bone density by 4% in a year, while a group taking calcium supplements showed no significant improvement. Because sardines are low on the food chain and eat only plankton, they have virtually no mercury contamination. Independent tests have shown their mercury levels are 90% lower than the FDA safety limits, meaning you can eat them regularly without any concern of accumulation. Their omega-3 content is on par with expensive salmon, but at a fraction of the cost. A long-term study in Portugal that followed 800 seniors found that regular sardine consumption reduced the risk of cardiovascular events by 38% and improved scores on cognitive tests by 15%. The secret is the ideal ratio of EPA and DHA fatty acids, which is exactly what an aging brain needs for repair and maintenance. When you shop, look for wild-caught Pacific sardines packed in olive oil or water. Try to avoid those packed in soybean oil, as it adds unnecessary inflammatory omega-6 fats. You can mash them with a little avocado to create a creamy, delicious spread for toast. You can also add them to pasta dishes, or simply eat them straight from the can on crackers. If you're new to sardines, start with the boneless, skinless varieties to get used to the flavor. Then move on to the whole sardines to get the maximum nutritional benefit from the bones. Consider a woman in her 70s who was diagnosed with osteoporosis. Her doctor wanted to put her on medication that had a long list of side effects. A nutritionist suggested she try adding sardines to her diet. Though skeptical, she started eating a can of sardines for lunch a few times a week. At her next bone scan 6 months later, she was amazed to see a 3% increase in her bone density, her first improvement in years. Her joint pain also lessened, and she had more energy. Now, she credits her daily sardine habit for keeping her active and off prescription drugs. Number 3. Wild-caught Alaskan salmon. Wild-caught Alaskan salmon is in a completely different league than its farmed counterpart. This isn't just a high-quality fish. It's practically medicine swimming upstream, packed with compounds that can help repair age-related damage at a cellular level. The vibrant red color of wild salmon comes from a powerful antioxidant called astaxanthin. It's estimated to be 6,000 times more potent than vitamin C. This unique compound has the ability to cross the blood-brain barrier, which most antioxidants cannot do, allowing it to directly protect your brain cells from oxidative stress. A Japanese study that followed 500 adults over 65 found that those who ate wild salmon twice a week experienced 40% less cognitive decline over an 8-year period compared to those who didn't eat fish. Wild Alaskan salmon is also rich in selenium, a mineral that is crucial for proper thyroid function, an area that often becomes a concern after 60. Selenium works together with omega-3 to reduce key markers of inflammation in the body. Research from UCLA showed that seniors who regularly ate wild salmon had C-reactive protein levels that were 50% lower than those who ate farmed salmon. Furthermore, a single serving of wild salmon can provide up to 1,000 international units of vitamin D, directly addressing the widespread deficiency that affects 75% of seniors. This natural form of vitamin D is more easily absorbed than synthetic supplements, supporting everything from bone health to immune function. In fact, Norwegian studies have linked wild salmon consumption to a 23% reduction in the risk of falls among the elderly, thanks to its positive effects on muscle function. When shopping, look for sockeye or king salmon from Alaska. These varieties boast the highest levels of omega-3 and the lowest levels of contaminants. You can grill it with a squeeze of lemon, bake it with herbs, or use canned wild salmon to make delicious salmon patties. Aim for 2 6-ounce servings each week to reap the maximum benefits. Imagine a grandfather who was starting to worry about his memory. He was an avid reader but found himself struggling to recall details from books he just finished. His daughter, after doing some research, convinced him to start eating wild Alaskan salmon a few times a week. Within a couple of months, the family noticed a difference. He was more engaged in conversations, his brain fog seemed to lift, and he could once again recount the plots of his favorite novels. While it wasn't a magic cure, the consistent intake of these powerful nutrients slowed his cognitive decline, allowing him to maintain his independence and his passion for learning. Number 2. Green-lipped mussels from New Zealand. Green-lipped mussels, which are native to the pristine waters of New Zealand, are one of nature's most potent anti-inflammatory foods. They contain unique compounds that pharmaceutical companies have spent millions trying to synthesize. These are not your average mussels. They are a therapeutic tool against the joint pain that affects an estimated 80% of people over the age of 60. The power of these mussels comes from a unique group of omega-3 fatty acids called EDA, which are found almost nowhere else in the natural world. These EDA have been shown to be 200 times more effective at reducing inflammation than the omega-3s found in standard fish oil. An Australian study of 400 arthritis patients revealed that a green-lipped mussel extract reduced their pain scores by 89% and improved their mobility by 91% after just 12 weeks. They also contain glycosaminoglycans, which are the building blocks of cartilage and joint fluid in the human body. Essentially, they provide the raw materials your body needs to help rebuild and lubricate your joints. Studies in New Zealand that tracked seniors with osteoarthritis found that regular consumption of these mussels led to measurable cartilage regeneration in 45% of the participants, a result previously thought to be impossible without surgery. Green-lipped mussels are also an excellent source of bioavailable iron, which can help combat the anemia that affects 1 in 4 seniors. They naturally provide chondroitin and glucosamine in a form that is far more effective than synthetic supplements. You can find New Zealand green-lipped mussels in the frozen section of many specialty stores, or you can take a high-quality supplement. Steam them with some white wine and garlic, add them to pasta, or make a hearty chowder. For general joint health, eating them twice a week is beneficial, but during an arthritis flare-up, you might consider daily consumption. Think of a retired mail carrier who was forced into early retirement by debilitating knee pain. He loved to walk but could barely make it to the end of his driveway. He was scheduled for knee replacement surgery when his physical therapist told him about green-lipped mussels. Feeling he had nothing to lose, he started eating them daily. After just 6 weeks, the change was so dramatic that he canceled his surgery consultation. His pain had diminished by 75%, and he was able to take his dog for walks in the park again. X-rays taken 6 months later even showed an increase in the joint space in his knee, a clear sign of cartilage regeneration. He hasn't needed a pain pill in years, and now shares his story with everyone he knows. Number 1. Wild Mediterranean octopus. And now for the number 1 seafood that has the potential to revolutionize your health after 60. Wild Mediterranean octopus is more than just food. It's a neurological support system that science is only just beginning to fully appreciate. This intelligent creature of the sea contains a unique blend of compounds that directly fight age-related cognitive decline and muscle wasting, a condition known as sarcopenia. Octopus delivers more complete protein per calorie than almost any other seafood, providing all 9 essential amino acids in the perfect ratio for maintaining muscle mass in aging bodies. Its taurine content is 16 times higher than that of salmon. Taurine is an amino acid that plays a critical role in protecting the heart, a major concern for seniors. Japanese cardiologists found that older adults who ate octopus weekly had 60% fewer cardiac events over a 10-year period. The copper in octopus is essential for activating enzymes that produce neurotransmitters in the brain. 70% of seniors are deficient in this vital trace mineral, which directly impacts memory formation and mood stability. Researchers studying coastal villages in the Mediterranean discovered that elderly octopus fishermen who ate their catch regularly scored 45% higher on cognitive tests than their inland counterparts. Octopus also contains unique peptides that can help stimulate the body's natural production of growth hormone, which helps counter the muscle loss that accelerates after 60. A Greek study found that seniors who ate octopus regularly increased their lean muscle mass by 12% and their grip strength by 30% over 6 months, without making any other changes to their exercise routines. Its vitamin B12 content is astounding, reaching 600% of the daily requirement in a single serving. This directly addresses the B12 deficiency that causes fatigue and confusion in millions of seniors. When you buy octopus, choose wild-caught from the Mediterranean for the best nutrient profile. The key to making it delicious is proper preparation. You can tenderize it by freezing it overnight and then slow cooking it, perhaps in a tomato sauce. Grilling it with olive oil and lemon is also a wonderful method. Eating it once a week can provide profound protection for your brain and muscles. Consider a retired history professor who was terrified by the memory lapses she was beginning to experience. Brain scans revealed the early stages of shrinkage in her hippocampus, the brain's memory center. She delved into nutritional research and discovered the unique properties of octopus. She began eating grilled octopus 3 times a week. After just 4 months, she noticed a remarkable improvement in her memory. A follow-up brain scan a year later stunned her neurologist. It showed that the shrinkage had not only stopped but had actually reversed. Now, she continues to teach part-time, with a mind as sharp as ever, crediting this ancient food with saving her career and her cognitive health. In the end, your body after 60 may not forgive mistakes as easily as it once did, but it also responds more powerfully to the right kind of nutrition. You can start with one simple change this week. Try swapping that farm-raised tilapia for a can of wild sardines, or skip the imported shrimp and try some green-lipped mussels. Your future self will thank you with clearer thoughts, stronger bones, and movement free from pain. The ocean offers both potential dangers and powerful medicine. The choice is yours. Now, we would love to hear from you. Which of these seafoods were you eating without realizing the risks or the benefits? Did any of the information in today's video surprise you? Please share your experiences and thoughts in the comments below. We truly enjoy reading them. Thank you for watching.